Hello and welcome to another movie review from MBE. Today, John, we're going to be talking about 1991's T2 Judgement Day. That's, of course, Terminator 2. I'm going to hand it over to you now because you will guide us through this monumental film from all the way back in the early 1990s before the Terminator franchise got a bit crap.
Yes. When I was a young boy, Steve, only about 3, 4, I want to say.
Yeah.
I didn't see this movie on its initial release, I have to tell you. It was probably a decade later, round about, well, not a decade, late 90s. Stuck with me ever since then, Stephen. For me, it's probably my favourite Terminator movie of all time, but we'll get into that, I'm sure, at some point. Legacy and whatnot. Some people love the first one, some people hate it, not a lot of people hate it. Maybe those butthurt snowflakes these days that prefer Dark Fate and whatnot. Lord knows, we'll get into that as well, I'm sure, at some point too. Stephen, the introduction to this movie, I have said in my notes, it could be the best of the franchise. It is simply stupendous. We do, of course, have Sarah Connor narrating the aftermath of a nuclear blast. We want to say it's Judgement Day 97. It then goes forward again. I think it's into the mid to late 2020s. That's not going to happen in real life, thankfully, because I did save a day. And again, we get the classic shots of Terminators crunching through skulls and whatnot. We see shots of John Connor being heroic and stuff like that. It's a really good start. And it sets up the whole good guy, bad guy Terminator thing as well. Also, they send back 2 Terminators. One hunted for her in the first movie, and then one is sent back to save, and one is sent back to kill John in this movie. So it's great narration. It's showing you what's happened. Things have changed, but it's inevitable. It's going to rewrite, and we're going to keep continuing having Judgment Day further and further into the future. What an intro!
Yeah, John. I mean, getting back. I remember when this film came out. I remember the trailers, etc. You know, there was one that was a factory one. I don't think I've seen it since. But I mean, it's not fair to compare this to the first film. The first one was such a breakthrough, you know, in storytelling, you know, and what you could do with this kind of scenario. This one has a fantastic storyline, but also it sort of ups the ante with the practical and CG effects. But one of the things, obviously, in this film, back then, I think it was probably one of the worst kept secrets, was obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't coming back to reprise his role as the bad guy in this one. I think at this point in his career, I think he was very concerned about being typecast as a villain in films, etc. You know, and he'd already done a few action films like Predator, The Running Man, etc. at this point anyway. So he had absolutely nothing to worry about in terms of that. And I think as well that his acting came on a bit since the 1984 one, you know, so I think he was very interested in playing the good guy this time. Obviously there's a bit more dimensions to a good guy than there is a two-dimensional, you know, robot, android, whatever it was. But there's just something about this film that's got such rewatchability. I know we'll talk about, obviously, the sort of the legacy of this film and how the sequels have perhaps marred it a little bit. For me, I'll say just now, it doesn't ruin my viewing of Terminator 2. No. It's an iconic film. I remember just being blown away when I first saw this film, just for its effects. Something I'd never seen. The Abyss I think that was the first film that kind of used that sort of technology, but
there's a name for that technology. It's not full-blown CG. There's things going on. It's like an effect, but it's realistic. It has a palpableness. If you blend that with good practical effects, then I don't know, it just seems to age better. We were discussing it, Steve. I mean, you've got like the Phantom Menace, and maybe I'm being harsh on the Phantom Menace, but the Attack of the Clones was like a decade after this movie, and it's just aged horrendously. I can still go back and watch this movie now, and it looks really good for its
I think
age.
Since the 4K release as well, John, it's just get better.
And he's just cleaned it up, of course. I'm sure we'll get into that as well, Steve. Some of the little quibbles have been taken out, little things happen with colour correcting and whatnot. He didn't want to step on the cinematographer's original vision for palettes and whatnot, but just again, it's just a really well-aged movie in general. Everything about it, really, the plot, the acting, technical stuff. Stephen Arnie obviously enters the fray shortly after that introduction. It's almost linear, it's like sequential. We get Arnie, we get Sarah Connor narrating, we don't actually see her then, we get Robert Patrick's T1000, then we get John Connor, then we get Sarah Connor, that introduce it all bit by bit by bit, but we'll get into that. Arnie, his entrance into this movie is probably one of the best entrances into any movie really, but certainly a Terminator movie. Of course you get that amazing thing that happens when Terminators travel back in time. It's like a bolt of lightning, a spherical thing. They end up completely bollock naked in the middle of where they land. And he has to go and get clothes, he has to get glasses and whatnot, and he steps into a bar full of leather-clad bikers.
It is funny how Terminators aren't sent back in the shape of Jack Black, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
That'd be horrendous. I've seen Jack Black on pretty sure he's got a YouTube channel just now, and it's not a good look. Look, I love the guy, but he's not in great shape. Certainly Arnie was in absolutely stupendous shape at this point. Yeah. Better shape than Patrick, I have to say, but there's not many people eclipse Arnie when it comes to physiques. Probably Bruce Lee, some would say, and I would. But Stephen, this entrance, man, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. It's got great music, great action, great back and forth with the lines. I mean, I'll have your boots, your jacket and your khaki, or your bike keys or something along those lines, and they're laughing at him. Yeah. I'm not taking him serious at all. No. This big tall guy, he's got German vibes coming off, or Austrian, same thing. And they're slapping him with pool cues and whatnot. He's just wrecking them all over the place. It's that shot as well, from his view, where he's eyeing up things and it's got all the little things. Again, that ages really well. It's almost like Star Wars with the aiming thing, the original Star Wars. It's clunky, it feels dated, but it's right as well, I don't know. And then also the famous bits when the guy gets flung on the actual grill and
that's
burns
fantastic.
His hands. That's I mean,
try to go off that without using your hands.
Getting the shit kicked out of you by Arnie's not
there's
bad
also
enough.
That bit, burnt. There's also that bit, John, the guy gets knifed in the back on the pool table as well, which I always laugh at. I think it's hilarious just the way it happens. And the you're right, the snooker cue over, or the pool cue over the back of his head.
That's when they realised they made a terrible mistake.
It just breaks without any effect. He just turns around and throws the guy through the window. But it's such a great sequence, John. I can't think of this now without thinking of the T3 sort of version of it as well, the talk to the hand, and it's like the male strippers thing and the big Elton John star sunglasses. It's kind of ruined it for me a little bit because I can't stop thinking about that now, but it's a good entrance, it's a good setup as well, because we still don't know at this point, if you're getting into this fresh and you don't know, obviously, spoilers. Well, I don't know why you would be that way these days, but
there's always someone out there who's not seen a movie.
But you don't know if he's a good guy or the bad guy yet. That's one of the things I love about this film. It's not until obviously they get to the Galleria where we actually figure out who is who. And shortly after this, obviously we've got to mention George Thorogood's "Bad to the Bone" as well. Such an iconic track now. Anytime I hear that, I think of this film.
And he gets, of course, the shotgun off the guy outside as well. Yeah. The glasses.
Can't let you take the man's wheels or something like that, wasn't it?
Not really a choice, bitch, because he's taking it anyway. But Stephen, you're right. Obviously, Mr. Patrick comes in after that. And as you did say, the unique way this movie's set up, it's sort of good cop, bad cop, and you don't know who's what just now. I always likened it to Luke in a way in Return of the Jedi. I keep making Star Wars comparisons. That's going to continue throughout this when we start talking about
fan, John,
when we start talking about franchises getting wrecked, then you can't help but make comparisons to Star Wars, really. But you don't know who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. It's almost like Luke in Return of the Jedi. First 45 minutes, you don't know if he's turned to the dark side or not, with that conflict with Vader and whatnot, dressed in black. Is he a Sith? Is he a good guy? And then it gets revealed. This is similar, but also they're doing this after. And I would argue it's better from Cameron, really, because it's just momentously laid down, really, the way that these two guys go about. And it seems like it could have good intentions, bad intentions. Even Patrick's going about getting photographs of Connor. Yeah. He could be looking for him to try and save him.
He's dressed as a police officer as well. That wasn't a mistake, John. That was obviously to that was just to sort of throw you off the scent.
And he's like an all-American hero. Yeah. He's blonde hair, blue eyes. He's like
the build as well, John. Yeah. He's very similar to Kyle Reese's build as well. So you would naturally assume, the big guy is going to be the villain and the little guy is going to be. I'm saying little guy, he's not a little guy. It's just in comparison to Arnold Schwarzenegger, he is a little guy.
Yeah. Everyone's little compared to Arnold, to be fair, let's be honest. That little punk that drop kicked him over in South Africa would realise that as well. He didn't even flinch in the guys in his 70s, Stephen. But look, I mean, as I did say, he's going off, he's hunting for John, the T1000, the T800's also looking for him. And that really is something that sets up the whole first arc of this movie, really. The first act of a movie, I always have issues with that. We of course see Sarah Connor as well. She's doing like pull-ups or something in her cell.
Yeah.
A very different Linda Hamilton in this movie from what we've seen in the first one.
Yeah.
She is jacked,
Yeah.
I've said something else that I can't repeat.
Yeah.
She's also suffering real mental side effects. She's traumatised from what happened in the first movie.
Yeah.
She's haunted by what could be. She's getting premonitions and whatnot. We'll get into that in a moment.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, I kind of touched upon this later on in my guideline, but I suppose we can get into it here as well. She was doing the strong female thing, Stephen, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they're hammering us over the head with this strong female protagonist. This movie's so good, though, in that it can give us a strong female protagonist, much like what Carrie Fisher did in Star Wars. There's the comparison
Weaver
again.
and Alien, yeah.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver, absolutely. And maybe Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween too.
Yeah.
You don't belittle the male characters around about and make them absolute dweebs.
No need for it.
To make the female character look powerful. They're all strong in their own ways. John Connor's strong, he's a young guy, he's independent, he's going about his life, he's got issues as well.
Yeah.
But it's a development from the first movie that's really cool, and she's really strong in her own right. She's learnt from what's happened in her life, she's made sure she's gained the muscle mass and whatnot in case another Terminator comes after her and she is equipped to deal with it. And I thought that was really cool, again showing you this different side. It's the same character but it's completely different. It's almost like Back to the Future on steroids. I mean, they're completely different characters, of course. But Stephen, what did you make about seeing Sarah Connor for the first time? Obviously, I'm presuming you've seen Terminator prior to Terminator 2.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts when you seen this completely different
Shouldn't have
version?
seen them, John. I was only a kid, but I did see them.
Yeah.
It wasn't my gran this time. This was one I actually decided on my own. And it's funny because the Terminator, the 1984 film, is more a horror film to me. It really is, just the way it's played out. The trauma that Sarah goes through in that film is unreal, you know, and it's so realistic as well, sort of where she's at in this film. Dr. Silberman, I think his name is. You know, the guy that he's in the first three films. He's absolutely making a career out of her trauma, you know, and he's not a nice guy at all.
No.
He always gets some kind of payback to him later on in the film, but I mean, just the first time you see her, she's kind of like an animal in a zoo at this point, because all these researchers are going around taking a tour of the facility, and they're all looking through the window, the porthole in her cell, and she's got her bed turned upright so she can do these pull-ups.
Yeah.
It's a great shot. It shows you her physique, the muscle mass, and just the way she turns around as well. She's very, you know, badass, as they say in the US. But she is, you know, you think of that young girl, which she was in 1984, this petrified waitress, you know, just carefree on her little moped and stuff like that. Then you think to this version of her, what a turnaround. I mean, we'll obviously talk about Linda Hamilton's performance.
But it's natural, Stephen. It's something that you would go on, a journey you would go on. If you went through her footsteps, that's something you'd definitely do. You would make sure you were prepared in case it happened again. Of course, there's nothing else to do. She's in a mental asylum, so I mean, she can't really do much else other than train. She's
focused,
and pop the pills, or refuse to, as she does at one point.
Yeah.
Stephen, I says this movie flip-flops very early on. It's all over the place, really. It's following different characters, but it's developing them at the same time.
Yeah.
And I've says there's a real expert level building of tension over the two Terminators, as you did say, pursuing John, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. It's something that's really synonymous with this movie. It's something I always think about.
Yeah.
John at this point is, you can see he's independent. He's
like a rogue.
Yeah, he's had to carve his own life. He's going to crime and whatnot.
I think they call it a delinquent, don't they?
Yeah. Non-educated delinquent, although he's educated.
Yeah. Well, he's hanging bank cash lines, isn't he? You know, with his little computer. Easy money, as he says, you know.
And obviously step parents are hammering him into the ground, and he's not listening to them at all. He buggers off.
Yeah, she's not my mother, Todd. Yeah.
And obviously slagging off his own mother as well, saying she's absolutely crazy.
He's a big fan of Guns N' Roses as well, as you recall.
Nothing wrong with that, Well, I don't really like Axl Rose, but there's nothing wrong with Guns N' Roses. I'm a Slash man. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Stephen, I think that takes us into the Galleria scene, I want to say. And I'm jumping ahead 2 seconds. The Sarah dream sequence, we can't not speak about that dream sequence, the nuke going off. It's iconic, really.
Yeah.
It gives me nightmares to this day. I've had nightmares, some would say, of nukes going off in the horizon. And I pin it solely on this movie and what James Cameron did to me.
Yeah.
It's obviously, I mean, there's a lot of things going on there, but what was your thoughts on that sequence? She's obviously walking down to the playground and it goes off, the heat and then the explosion. Does that not give you the absolute fear? And then obviously the Dyson scene as well.
John, it's absolutely chilling because it brings home how quick these things can happen. You know, you get kids playing in the playground with their mothers, and I think she's holding on to the fence on the other side, trying to shout out to. In fact, she's seen herself with John as a toddler, I think, and she's trying to shout at them, and her own self is trying to see who's shouting, but she can't make out who's on the other side of the fence. Big explosion, John. Practical effects. I think I've seen the making of this, how it was done. Very clever the way it was done. I mean, if you look closely, you can see a lot of it is models, you know, the cars and stuff like that. But listen, that's nitpicking. It's a great sequence. The burning skeleton holding onto the fence when the flames just go right through her is chilling, absolutely chilling. It's frightening. It's frightening to think of that kind of arsenal in the world that can do that. Yeah,
and Stephen, look, there's obviously themes being explored in there as well. It's her just terrified to be out of control. She's stuck in this asylum. She thinks this judgment day is going to come, and she's out of control. She's going to lose her son and whatnot. Again, that's just the mental anguish. It's languishing within her after that first movie. Also, Dyson's seen at this point as well. I think he's intercepted or something like that with government agents. I want him to work on something. Yeah. And he doesn't know what it is. It's revealed it's the semi-destroyed chip of the Terminator from the first movie. Again, that's it. I think the arm as well.
The arm is there, yeah. Yeah, it's in glass. Yeah.
So that sets up that this is the continuation. Judgment Day is going to come. It's relentless, the fun part of this, and that's setting the whole ball in motion again. They're going to have to try and reset it early on in the movie. She's stuck there. And then we get the arcade scene, the Galleria scene. He goes off. I think he's, again, as you says, he's robbing money and whatnot, and then he goes off with his friend to play some arcade games, as you did back in the day. Sadly not so much now. No. But obviously we've got the T800, the T1000 going after him. I think he maybe goes to the step parents at some point. Patrick gets a photograph.
He gets the photograph saying he's a good looking boy, etc. Playing the good guy. You know, that's all these little sort of subtle hints to suggest that he is the good guy in this film. Obviously when they get to the sort of face off in the Galleria, you know, the T800's carrying a box with roses in it. It's really shotgun he's disguising. It just looks out of place with a box of roses anyway. So that confrontation in the sort of back corridor of the Galleria, where some poor guy with a can of Coke and a clipboard actually gets shot about 1,000,000 times, just being the wrong guy at the wrong place at the wrong time, just like John McLaughlin. You know, and
just like Eddie Furlong in Dark Fate.
There's a great build up to it as well. It kind of slows down. The Terminator theme kicks in. You know, the metal sounding drums, and you're like, oh, what's going to go down here? And then Arnie just says that line, get down, you know, and then you go, right, he's the good guy, he's trying to protect Connor, right, okay, meaning the T1000's the bad guy. And it's the first time we see the sort of liquid metal effect with the gunshots. I think it's just like stick on things, isn't it, they've done, but it's effective, you know, and it kind of gives you, first time you see that you go, what the hell is that, you know, because you've not really seen him do anything yet. He kills the guy at the start of the film when he first comes back from the future, but it's seen in a way where you don't actually see the guy getting killed. It's a noise you see, but you don't, and it sounds like a knife, but you don't really know. You know, Siri's just coming on my actual iPad here. I don't know what it's all about. I think the machines are taking over already. Rise of the machines. Let's not talk about that. But yeah, I mean, it's a great scene, John, and it kind of sets up. It does set up one of the best, if not the best, chase sequences I've seen in an action film.
Absolutely, Stephen. It's absolutely iconic, really. And as you did say, he faces off of him. There's some great action sequence in that corridor. It's established that the T1000 is a newer model.
Yeah,
he's better, he's more agile, he's like more advanced. But the T800 still holds his own. He's just got that brute sort of force.
Yeah. There's a bit where
with guns.
I think you actually see the power of the T1000 throwing the T800 through a glass window. A glass window, of course, it's glass, but there's a look as well that Robert Patrick gives to a mannequin in the shot, which is, do you remember that? It kind of just looks as if that looks like me a bit, you know, because it's just silver. So it's a great scene, and then we get to see that iconic running that Robert Patrick developed for the character as well, when he's chasing John, when John's trying to escape on his dirt bike. He's keeping up with him, and you're like, what the hell is this guy? Like what is the guy all about, you know?
Yeah, when I run, I try to do my best Robert Patrick impersonation. I like to get the hands as straight as possible and run. I just imagine Eddie, what the hell am I talking about? Edward Scissorhands and Robert Patrick when I'm running, so there you go. But not with scissors, that'd be ridiculous. Stephen, you're right. I mean, this chase sequence along that canal, we know what it is. It's in LA.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I think there's a lot of homeless people kick around there now. I think they kick about everywhere, really, in LA. It's a travesty, but that's not something we're speaking about.
No.
There's trucks. There's a big articulated truck involved. It still gives me the fear, really.
Yeah.
He's on a little moped. I think he gets lifted up with Arnie, and round about the middle of his chase sequence on the bike, he's got the shotgun, he's doing that amazing
spin,
shoot, and then reloading it and spin it. It's just everything about this scene.
It's
just perfectly
It's
constructed.
how you'd imagine a robot being able to perform that. It's something that doesn't look like a human can do with one hand with a shotgun.
Not
reload and shoot as well. So it just felt like it felt right, if you know what I mean. But something about the 4K one obviously cleared up a lot of the things that was so noticeable, John, like the stunt double and stuff like that from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I think there was an issue with the truck window as well, wasn't there? I think something that disappeared and it was there and it shouldn't have been there, and they sorted that. Yeah. Stephen, I think there's something about the indefatigability as well of the T-1000 in this scene. It just will not give up. It's going after him again and again. I mean, the truck's getting mangled to hell, and he's doing everything in his power to kill this little guy who's just out minding his own business, playing some arcade games. Again, you talk about wrong person in the wrong place at the wrong time. Poor guy. But of course they get away eventually.
Yeah.
But it really is one of the most memorable scenes in an action movie, period. And again, that's just something about James Cameron. I keep wanting to say James.
Yeah.
I don't know him, James Cameron. And what he does, he's pioneering the way he uses concepts and stuff like that and technology. And this is one of the standout moments for me in the whole movie as well. We do get that early blossoming of John and the Terminator, the T-800's relationship. He's kind of testing the boundaries. He realises now that this guy's here to save him, but he can order him. I think he's giving him shit, and then he tells him, look, I can't recall exactly what the order was.
I think how it kicked off, John, was that John wanted to go back and get his mum. But the Terminator was like, no, I have to get you off the grid, and basically they had this full-blown argument out in the street. These two sort of bums pick up in this, thinking...
He shouts help.
Yeah, because I think he grabs him, and by the time they come over, he's already said to the Terminator, let me go, which he does, and he falls, and he says, why did you do that? He says, because you told me to. He says, let me get it straight, so anything I tell you, you've got to do, put one leg up and stuff like that, bark like a dog. It's like coming to America, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah. Stephen, and again, it's important though for the character of John Connor, because you do see that if he was a nefarious little shit, like it's been assumed with some of the drifting into crime and whatnot, he would just take full control of this Terminator and use him for the most inhumane means. He would get him to kill these two guys. The fact that he realises, no, you're going to kill them, stop, what the hell are you doing? It shows you that good streak within the guy that's going to define him going on into the future and whatnot. So that's an important scene. And again, it's important because it's something that just flows through this whole movie. Is this great relationship between not between Edward Furlong and Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the two characters. It's something that's the heart and soul of this movie. He's missing a father figure. He becomes a sort of father figure, but at the same time, he's given the Terminator something that he didn't have in his, Swiss Army knife of abilities. He gives him this humanised side.
An understanding.
Understanding of human emotion.
I think his software is developed in that way, that he's he's seeking information. I think that's the best way to.
He's been programmed.
He's tried to process obviously these scenarios that he's never came across before. So it's quite interesting.
It really is, Stephen. And then also that does take us on at some point. I don't know if I've missed scenes. It has been a while since I've seen it. To the rescue of Sarah Connor. I'm pretty sure there's been psych evaluations happening.
Yeah, there is a scene just before they go to Sarah, John. The T-1000 goes back to the foster parents and kills them. Imitates the dog. That's about it though, John. And then we're moving on.
That's a cool scene, Steve, because again you get to see one of his skills with that winding sort of pincer thing, and it's eerie as well. And it shows you this darker side to that character. I mean, there's no lengths that he will go to try and kill John Connor. He'll wipe out everything involved to try and get into this kid's mind and get close to him and obviously see his mission through. Yeah. And it's very cool in terms of the effects and it's through the milk carton and whatnot. Oh yeah. Stephen, also the rescue of Sarah Connor. I mean, this is another incredible scene. I think this is the scene with the checkered floor. He comes up.
Well, she's kind of in the middle of escaping anyway, isn't she?
Yeah, she's got the paperclip.
Yeah, this is the bit where she gets her own back on that terrible nurse guy with Yeah, with the broomstick. It's an absolute cracking shot where she belts him over the face with it and it breaks.
Yes.
You can hear the actual bones crunching. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
She drags him into the cupboard and then she's got a nightstick, which she's running down the corridor, and she's all psyched up for this escape. And I think things are going according to plan with her. The only thing I always think about that scene is, if Terminator and John Connor didn't show up, she would eventually be outnumbered with people and she wouldn't be able to manhandle them all,
That's another one for that maybe show we can do, Steve. What happened in an alternative universe if this didn't fall into her lap?
10 other guys came out the lift and put her back in the cell. Yeah. It's a great film.
Yeah, and then she continues to get licked by that little creepy nurse. Yeah, that's terrible. It really
just keeps going on a loop.
Yes, but obviously this is just a great scene, Steve, because it's multi-perspective. You've got Sarah doing her stuff, wrecking the shop, trying to get out. You've got the T-1000 sneaking around. He's coming up through floors and killing the guard and assuming his appearance again, shape-shifting.
I can't remember how the T-1000 ends up at the facility though. Is it just a case of last sort of chance?
Well, what point does he say that's a nice bike and takes the bike? Is that early on in the movie, or does he somehow get in and then... Maybe, obviously he goes to the parents, the step-parents, and he'll know.
I think once, obviously, his targets have been eliminated, he's got to then go back to the default setting of going back to Sarah Connor, because that would be the obvious move for John. I think
he may have got it out the step-parents where the mother is and know that he's going to go and try and save her. I don't know.
I can't remember.
But he does get there, and it also takes the shape of the guard, and there's that great scene with the actual guard. I think there's something happens anyway. There's a great scene where it's like a doppelganger or something.
Yeah, it's one of the security guards, isn't it? He comes over. Yeah, he comes out the checkered floor and imitates him. I think the actual guy that plays him's got a twin. Yeah. So it was an easy thing to do. It wasn't great effects or anything like that. Just like Linda Hamilton, she's got a twin sister, and she appears in the film at the end as well.
I didn't know that. So there you go. You learn something new every day. But Stephen, it really is. It's really well crafted. There's different perspectives. You've got the T-800 and you've got John Connor coming in. You get that amazing scene where she's trying to get out. She actually sees the T-800 and decides, no, I'm going back to my cell. I don't want to get out now after all. Absolute fear induced. And then there's that sort of back and forth. I'm not going with you. You've got the gun striking off the bars, the T-1000. He's melting through bars and whatnot. It's a whole host of amazing things going on here. Visually, tension's off the scale.
Yeah.
Finally, I think he convinces her, look, he's here to save us, he's not here to kill us. She's not having it. She's at some point conflicted because she knows what these monstrous machines are capable of.
Yeah.
But it's like the better of two evils, because obviously this thing's coming after them.
One of the best things about this as well, John, talking about Silberman again, he actually witnesses the T-1000 come through those bars and the gun gets stuck because that's obviously not part of him. And I think he's got a pencil or something in his mouth and it just falls out. He's absolutely shocked at what he's just witnessed. It's funny because in Terminator 3, when he reappears in it, he's went through similar trauma as well. He's relived that moment over how many years it was, 10 years or whatever it was. So there's a little bit of a comeuppance in that character as well.
Yeah, and it was deserved because he was an absolute shithead.
Yeah.
Stephen, there's a great scene here as well when they do go into the lift elevator, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Shoot somebody's head, splices in two. Again, amazing effect. I don't know how they've done that. Well, I do. It's a certain type of effect.
It's amazing, John. Composites or something. I can't remember.
Composites, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, and just the way that the way Linda Hamilton acts in this scene as well. She's confused. She's petrified. Adrenaline's coming through her as well, and just that line kind of reassures her, come with me if you want to live, I think it is, yes. Yeah. Just before they enter the lift. But you're right. Also, I love the way the T-1000 uses his arms to open the lift doors. Yeah. They're kind of big hooks, aren't they? Yeah. And he just kind of puts them in and then splits his arms apart to pull it. I think that's when Arnie just shoots him right through the head and splits his head to buy them some time. But then he's on top of the lift and he's just knifing through the roof of it, just hoping. He's kind of just prodding around there trying to get something, try to stab something, but they're all that laying low at that point. And interestingly, John, they get away, I think this is the last time we see T-1000 for about...
He does give chase though, after the car. Yeah, again, he shoots incredibly quick and he's hooking on.
He's hooking on and I think they shoot the his hand or whatever, the hook or whatever you call it, and it kind of sort of flickers about, still hooked to the car. and eventually I think John picks it up and throws it on the road, and then it shows you Robert Patrick, that little loose bit blending in with him again, and then we don't see him again for the next 45 minutes. This is where the film kind of slows down, doesn't it? It kind of re-establishes the relationship between John and Sarah, and also the blossoming relationship between John and the T-800 as well.
Absolutely, Stephen. Obviously, they've been separated. There's a lot of... I don't know what word I'd use, because I don't want to say hatred, but there's issues between them.
There's conflict,
there's conflict. He grudges her getting off and doing this thing, and obviously he doesn't understand what's happening.
He didn't believe her. He thought she was a nutcase,
Exactly. And obviously they, as you did say, they're developing their relationship. She's got this burnt up hatred. She wants to go after Dyson and try and right the wrong, and I think there's a moment she meets with some Hispanic guy and there's gun caches and
Uncle
whatnot.
Bob.
And then Uncle Bob, and then obviously the Terminator, he's been taught human emotions and tons of phrases by John. I think he's in the room and somebody's shouting on him and he's telling him to F off, dickwad and whatnot, and things like that. I don't know why I said F off and then said dickwad. It doesn't really matter now. I've done it. And there's just some great establishing of humour in here. There's poignancy. There's a great relationship building between these two characters. Some amazing scenes. Obviously, a great quote. You know what I'm like with quotes, where he's saying, what is it John says to the Terminator again?
Is it about the affirmative?
The affirmative, yeah.
It's a classic scene, John. There's something about that, There's something about...
getting them to smile. Is that maybe a cut out scene?
Cut scene. I'm glad they took that out. That's actually one... It's an overused GIF now on Twitter and stuff like that. But, it's cut out, obviously, for tone reasons, but there's something about Edward Furlong in this film at this period. He kind of acts like a real-life Bart Simpson, He's just full of the patter. He knows all the sort of Spanish phrases, hasta la vista baby and all that. And obviously it becomes such an iconic line, and it's still something that gets used and reused, paying homage to this film. But it's just a great scene, and I love the sort of the building of the relationships between these two as well, because there's a little scene, that there's two kids fighting with toy guns, and the Terminator's just kind of looking at them as if why are humans acting this way towards each other, and they're just kids, they're probably about 7 or 8 years old. And John says a great line, he says, we're not going to make it, are we, like the humans? And the Terminator says, it's in your DNA, it's in your program, I think it is, to kill each other. And it's true.
It's true.
It's so true.
And it's something that's not lost its meaning or poignancy.
There's also a bit, that Sarah has a confrontation with John as well that makes him kind of well up a bit. I can't remember what it was, John. But the Terminator picks up on this and he asks what's wrong with him, and he's tried to explain to him, he's upset, but he doesn't quite understand it. It plays well into one of the final scenes and one of the final lines in the film as well, which we'll get to, but it's quite a good scene. Yeah,
because obviously again the development, he does become humanised in some form, the Terminator. Stephen, also they do go off, Sarah goes off, they give chase, John and the Terminator. And you're right that it's strange, because for such an iconic villain to take such a lull out of the movie and take a half an hour break from being in the movie, it's strange, but it does allow great character development, as you did say, between the three different characters. And then obviously Sarah has a moment as well. She takes a chip out and she's toying with it to destroy it and end them, but then she can't bring herself to do it. So that shows that there's still humanity within her, even though she has a deep-seated hatred of machines. But it does. She goes after Dyson. There's that scene where she just wrecks his house, tries to kill his family and him. Well, mostly him, but I think his young family are there. And she realises, look, I'm becoming a monster as well. I can't really do it. The guy's just a guy. He doesn't realise what's happened.
He's a good actor, Joe Morton, John. I remember him from, ironically, an episode of The X-Files, which was called Red Rum. And he was accused of murdering his wife, I think it was. But what happens in the episode is that it plays each day as if it was the day before. It starts off Friday, and then the next day is Thursday. It goes in reverse, and it kind of the whole scenario sorts itself out. And obviously Robert Patrick is in that as well. They don't actually get to share any screen time in this. There's no reason for them to share any screen time in this film, but there's something about this. Sarah has a total meltdown, a breakdown, where she was so psyched up for eliminating this guy for what he has done or what he's going to do. He doesn't realise it. She goes into...
It's a mind block, that.
Yeah, I mean, and she has a full breakdown because she can't bring herself to kill the guy. in front of their, his family as well. But it's, once the Terminator and John catch up with her, the Terminator tells Dyson the whole story, of what's happened and what's to come, and this totally changes his mindset. He can't continue working on what he's been doing now. He just can't do it, and obviously it sets them off on another adventure and try to get hold of everything they can, the files, every bit of paperwork in that building that Dyson works in, getting the arm from the first film, getting that chip as well. Just getting everything that they can to destroy it, and it sets up another great sequence as well.
Yeah, Stephen, I can't lie, my mind is just fuzzy when it comes to the end of this movie, so you will probably be carrying me into it.
Not a problem.
I know they do go to the complex, his work, and they try to retrieve it, as you did say. I don't quite know where that leads into the blending of the finale, but I know there's T-1000 comes in at some point round about here.
I mean, he comes back into it on the bike first, John, and what happens is, obviously, with them entering this office block, it sets all the security off, and I think basically it's just a SWAT team that comes in, because obviously the Terminator is a wanted man. They think he's a man. Sarah Connor's an escaped mental patient, and obviously the murder of serious mode, and John Connor, obviously his foster parents have been killed, so there's they're wanted people, and it kicks off this big sort of standoff thing where Arnie gets to say his famous line, "I'll be back," and basically he takes out all the SWAT team without killing any of them, which was very cleverly done. It keeps the rating down on the film as well by doing that.
What was the rating in this one?
I think it was 15, John. It certainly was. I think it was in
15,
in the UK, but I don't know what it was in the US. But
it's a rare thing indeed for a 90s movie.
It certainly is, especially
a lot of 18s.
A lot of the action in this is in the language. But
I think you've got a set amount of profanity you're allowed to use to keep the rating down, though, and if you tip over it, then it does. Yeah, but certainly because there's not much other things going on.
I think Jim Cameron, Cammy Boy wants to appeal to a broader audience with this film, because it certainly the tones in this film are certainly different from the first film. Yeah,
you're right, Steve. I always thought the first one was like a horror as well. I do agree with you like that. There was horror elements big time.
It was almost like a Michael Myers character, wasn't he?
He was just absolutely relentless.
And this obviously leads to the good guys finally escaping from the SWAT team, just as the T-1000's entered the building. I think he's going up the stairs on a motorbike, isn't he? It's absolutely mate. He just doesn't care, this guy. He's some guy. He's got such a such focus on what his mission is. It doesn't matter.
But for a half an hour he loses them.
And then he doesn't know where they are. And then the most bizarre thing is he sees them when he's at that sort of top floor window. He sees them driving off, and you're thinking, you're not going to get them now. Well, there's a helicopter going by. I'll just drive into that. I'll drive my motorbike out of this top story building through the glass and drive right into the helicopter, which he does. It's one of the best CG effects I've seen that hasn't aged terribly, John, where he sticks his head through the windscreen and pours himself into that sort of cockpit, and still in silver mode or whatever that is, metallic mode, says to the guy, get out. And he does get out, he jumps out, the guy doesn't think twice, He's seen this metallic metal guy, liquid guy just telling you to get out. And then he's on the chase again to them. This leads them to obviously that factory. Where
little shop of horrors, there's all sorts.
Yeah, there's everything going on. There's always this is the thing about Terminator films and Robocop films as well, where they always end up in this kind of industrial sort of scenario, don't they? It's always something like an old factory or something like that, and the liquid nitrogen.
It's cheap to make a movie in those.
It's convenient to have the liquid nitrogen in this factory as well. What that was doing there, I don't know.
Well, maybe Heston Blumenthal was starting up his early business, Stephen, and want to cook food for it. I don't know. But Stephen, again, you do see early on in this movie that the T-1000 is almost immune to flame, because he does get blown up in the truck and he just walks out and reforms. And
not a scratch on him, just like Luke Skywalker on Crate. Not a scratch on him.
And he actually was there.
Yeah.
Stephen, there's something that he says obviously about the jumping into the helicopter as well, because he is a machine. He doesn't give a shit. He knows he's not going to die, that lends a degree of invincibility to this character. He can do whatever the hell he wants, something that obviously the Connors can't do. So he has that edge. And as you did say, liquid nitrogen as well. He survives that as well. He gets sprayed with nitrogen, he's frozen. It does encumber him for a while. I think that's something we see later on in Terminator 3 as well. Something happens with her. She gets encumbered for a while. Maybe I'm talking shit. It's been a while since I've seen that one as well. I need to go back and watch these movies. Yeah. It's been a long time, and it's not good to review them after that.
We will talk about the sequels briefly.
Oh, we
John,
will. Yes, we will. We'll definitely get into that. And we'll see a lot of comparisons to Star Wars once again.
Yeah.
But he gets out of it, and it does lead us to that epic finale where they're using like grenade launching things that are blowing him apart bit by bit, and he's getting into a big melting pot. And Stephen, it's very emotional as well, this end. I know you spoke about this previously, and I do agree with you. When Arnie has to say, I keep saying Arnie like he's the T-800, when the T-800 has to say goodbye to John.
Yeah.
And that great quote, I mean, I've wrote it down. You obviously, you know a lot better than me. Now I understand why you cry, but it's something I can't do. And it does lead back to that moment, what he says previously in the movie.
John has developed a relationship over, I don't know how many days it's stretched over across. I would say maybe 2 or 3 at this point. I would say.
Yeah, it's something
I think they're in hiding in Mexico for a few days. To be fair, but yeah, I mean. Listen, we knew this was going to come. If they're destroying chips and arms from the first one, they've got to destroy him as well. Yeah. That's a sacrifice. It's such a well, you would think, but it's such a.
We'll get into that.
Well, there's a crushed arm as well. Arnie actually, or T-800 loses an arm in this one as well, and no one bothers to dispose of that crushed arm. Surely the technology's there as well.
That's just to leave the door open for another sequel, Stephen.
Really picked up on that arm, but yeah, I mean, listen, John's in bits, isn't he? He realises he's about to lose another father figure, but it was coming. There's also a respect from Sarah at this point. I think she actually shakes his hand, as if
they're not all bad.
Yeah, they're not all bad. You've served your purpose, but it's admirable that you've got to self-terminate.
Yeah, but in the pot.
It's a great scene, John. Even the thumbs up. It's a bit cheesy these days, but I remember at the time it was quite emotional, and the lasting shot from that for me is obviously going back to the Terminator vision, where you're seeing it from him, and then it goes to that little tiny red dot, and that's obviously his system shutting down with obviously the heat penetrating the frame of the Terminator, but it's a great shot.
It really is, Stephen. It's a fitting end to a movie which I always think's got more emotional stuff going on in it than the other ones. I don't know why that is. I may be wrong again, but there's something about it. The great character building.
Yeah.
And look, Stephen, we'll probably get into this in a moment as well.
Yeah.
This should have been the end of the Terminator franchise. It really should have. It should have been a great duology of movies. There was no need for a trilogy.
No.
There was no need for subsequent remakes or. Well, they are remakes because you just keep rehashing the same story again and again and again and again.
There's something interesting though, John, that a lot of people have debated about, certainly in the early 2000s when Terminator 3 came out, that actually the sort of timeline and the sort of paradox, if you like, discussion on Terminator 3 actually makes more sense than Terminator 2, because you can't prevent Judgment Day according to Terminator 3, which actually does make more sense than Terminator 2, ironically, because if you're stopping all the future happening, then you can't send someone back to, it kind of goes in a bit of a mad loop, doesn't it? If you really, I mean, we did Back to the Future and we didn't go down this road, so I'm not doing it with Terminator.
Yeah, how's John here?
If
Keanu Reeves doesn't come back,
exactly. It's a minefield, John.
Stephen, Terminator is a minefield anyway. With all these different movies, you can actually have
timelines,
timelines, and you still don't know where you are. It's just ridiculous. But it should have been the end. Once James Cameron was done with it, in terms of getting dirty and directing, that should have been the end. When they start bringing in other directors, it muddies the water. Even if he is there in a producing role and he's helping with writing or whatnot, never going to work after that. This guy is one of the best directors in his field at doing this sort of genre and whatnot, and he's proven it time and time again. A pioneer in terms of technology and effects and just these type of stories. Really, he can do everything. He's just a great. I don't think he actually gets the credit he deserves at times. There's a lot of shit gets flung his way because of Avatar and whatnot, and it's not really justified. He is a true, really gifted director. Well, I'm being harsh. People give him his credit. I'm talking shit. It's James Cameron. But Stephen, I mean, shall we get into the sequels at the moment?
I think we should, John,
yeah, before we get into performances.
Yeah.
Sequels, I mean, does this feel futile going back and watching this now? Much like going back and watching the end of Return of the Jedi feels a little bit lacklustre. Do you feel it feels futile?
No.
Because they have essentially destroyed the entire franchise after this by retconning it in a lot of ways.
It really depends, John, if you want to take things the way they're released and whether you in your own head regards them as the continuation or not. You know, a lot of people, you're right, a lot of people do not recognise the sequel trilogy in Star Wars. That's fair enough, you know. I mean, I can understand that, you know, especially certain age groups like myself who, you know, grew up with the original trilogy and, you know, saw a very good ending to that franchise in Return of the Jedi, you know, apart from the Ewok music. But, yeah, I mean, it's like opening a can of worms. We were worried about The Force Awakens, and probably, you know, in hindsight, rightly so. It can mar things. Certainly The Rise of Skywalker did that with Anakin's sacrifice. For a lot of people it's ruined it for them, you know. Other people just say, I'm not counting the sequel trilogy. As far as I'm concerned, Return of the Jedi is the last one, and it's the same with this one, John. You know, after seeing, I don't want to really jump forward to Dark Fate, but obviously Dark Fate probably had the biggest sort of impact in regards to original actors playing the original characters, and the impact certainly from that first 5 minutes in Dark Fate changed everything for a lot of people. It didn't for me, you know, because I'd been through Terminator 3. John Mostow made a good film. It is a good film. It's not a great Terminator film. It's more of a rehash of Terminator 2 but watered down. But there's some good. There is some good sequences in it. You know, the ending was fantastic. I'll give him that.
And that jacket.
The jacket as well. The John Connor, the guy that played him, I can't remember his name. Nick Stahl, I think it was, something like that. He just didn't have the same kind of vibes that Edward Furlong had. You know, there's something about Edward Furlong and his humour and his line delivery and his sort of development, his relationship with Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's something clicked with those two, you know. There was something missing in that incarnation of John Connor.
It's always dangerous when you do have to recast a role as well, Stephen. We've seen that with other movies. You know, I mean, Solo.
I also think Terminator 3 came too late as well. 2003 it came out. It was 12 years after the second film. You know, it's very easy for us to sit here and say they should have ended it at 2, but when Terminator 3 was announced in the early 2000s, we were all excited for it, let's be honest, weren't we? Yeah. You know, we were getting to see Arnold Schwarzenegger coming back. I think he had a long period of not acting because he was the governor, wasn't he? Yeah.
4 more years.
Yeah, so
California.
So he had a lot of, you know, time, you know, away from, you know, some of his iconic roles. So it was long awaited. You know, and we were all excited for it, so I'm not going to sit here and say we didn't want it, because we all did. Yeah,
and then also Dark Fate, Stephen, as you did say, I mean, I know you share a slightly different view to me, but I think what they did to John Connor is bordering on blasphemy. They've essentially just, I mean, you're going through these first 2 movies, try to save him, you're putting him up as the beacon of hope, he's the saviour of humanity, and then you just shit on him and then replace him with something Hispanic.
Yeah, the fact James Cameron and Tim Miller are regarding this as a direct sequel as well. If you watch them back to back, then you're thinking, why did I watch the first 2 films? What was the point of that? Yeah. And rightly so, you know, but obviously there's another 2 films in between that were released. Salvation, obviously, we're getting to see John Connor as an adult finally. We got to see him in flashbacks in Terminator 2. It wasn't enough.
Funnily enough, not enough of him in that movie though, because it was what the hell was that guy's name? Sam Worthington.
Yeah.
It was kind of the Sam Worthington show around about that time because of Avatar. Again, I don't hate Salvation as much as other people, because it at least try to do a different story and something different instead of rehashing the same thing over and over again. I know a lot of people think it's terrible, but I think the actual cinematography and whatnot was pretty
amazing,
damn good
John,
in that movie. So I gave them slight brownie points, or try to do something different. Again, focusing a little bit on John Connor, because for me he is Terminator alongside Sarah Connor and Arnie. He is I keep saying Arnie, but Arnie's just synonymous with this. Those 3 characters, the T-800, Sarah Connor and John Connor, are Terminator, much like Luke, Han and Leia.
And you got to see a young Kyle Reese as well, and Anton Yelchin.
Exactly,
John,
and he was a great actor. Stephen sadly gone too soon. But performances in this movie, Steve, we'll move on from the actual destruction of the franchise.
Let's not talk about that other Terminator film.
No,
the one with
Genesis.
Genesis,
Amelia Clarke and
Jason Clarke.
No, we'll not. Steve, I've not seen it, so that's why I'm not even going to speak. I guess.
Bother, John.
I'm not sure.
It had one great sequence in it that sort of recreated the original, the original film. But apart from that, it was an absolute disaster. Yeah.
Stephen, performances in this movie, I think we both agree Linda Hamilton is the standout performer. As I did say, doing the strong female thing 30 years in advance, really.
Yeah.
She's just absolutely superb. The way she conveys emotions, the turmoil within her. She's like an action hero really paralleling Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie in many ways. As an aside to that, I would probably say Edward Furlong and Robert Patrick. I actually put Schwarzenegger down at fourth. In a movie which has probably got 4 standout performers, I put him down at 4 because he's not an amazing actor. He never has been. He's a good action hero.
It's
he's got great
charisma
and presence, as you did say. But Patrick's just one of the great antagonists in the last 30 years. Really, it's just absolutely superb. The look, it's iconic. The blonde hair, the police uniform.
Yeah,
something about him.
Linda Hamilton. This was her at her peak, really. You've only got to look at IMDb, since 1991 right up to Dark Fate, that she's not really hit the peaks of that film.
No.
But she was an absolute standout in this film. The transformation, physically and mentally, of this actress was something that I've not seen before. I've not seen since. You talk about 2 films with 2 different variations of the same person. This was something, I'm going to do Star Wars here again, John. This was an issue they had with this Rey character. There was no development in those 3 films. No. She was the same from The Force Awakens right through to The Rise of Skywalker.
Soulless.
And that seems to be a thing that a lot of franchises fell foul to over the years. With the Sarah Connor character, what a transformation, and this is all down to Linda Hamilton. It really is, we got sort of glimpses at the end of the original Terminator film that she was starting to change, nothing too dramatic. She was showing a bit more force at the end of that film, just through trying to survive in that factory again, where it crushed the original one. She actually says a line, "You're terminated, mother." I remember that, and you can see, there was hints there, in hindsight, that where the character was going to go. But Robert Patrick, he didn't have a lot to do in regards to line delivery or anything like that, but every line he had is so quotable. Just his presence, the way he looked as well. There's something about, he made that character his own. He could have just come off as like the fella Gabriel Luna. I'm not faulting the guy. I think he did well for what he was given, but there was something more two-dimensional about him if you're comparing him to the Robert Patrick's T-1000. There was just something, there was a bit of cheeky humour in there from T-1000 as well, a couple of lines that were quite funny, and just some of the looks he gave as well. Breakthrough, obviously, Edward Furlong. It's sad to see what obviously came with his life and his career over the years, it would have been great to have, I was so excited when James Cameron said, we've even got Eddie back. It was so disappointing what they did to him, it really was. I think he deserved more than that. The actor I'm talking about, not just John Connor, I think Edward Furlong deserved better than that, to be honest with you. But Linda Hamilton for me was a standout.
Absolutely, Stephen, I can't disagree. And you're right, what they did with Furlong was a joke, to be honest with you. I know he's been through some rough times and whatnot. He's probably not an established actor, been able to develop his acting out, and he is older now, but even still, throw the guy a crumb. He's one of the iconic characters in the franchise. To discard of him like a bit of rubbish is an absolute joke. Blasphemy, as I did say. Stephen, technical aspects of this movie. Cinematographer Adam Greenberg worked in the original Terminator. He had a very interesting career. He was a cinematographer on Turner and Hooch, Ghost, Three Men and a Little Baby, a whole lot of very interesting movies. Spellbinder. He's worked in all the Three Men and a Little Three Men and a Woman, Three Men and a Little Baby, I want to say.
Three Men and a Little Lady,
a Little lady, See, I'm not a fan of them. Although Selig's in there, isn't he? So that Tash alone.
There's a Ghost Boy as well, isn't
there? But he's a great cinematographer. Joking aside, he is fantastic. And a large part of this movie's enjoyability is the slick action and the way it's captured. It's, as I did say, the flicking of a shotgun and stuff like that. Cuts, it's just, as she says, that Patrick looking at the mannequin, the way it's captured, the shot in the corridor at the Galleria. There's so many great moments of cinematography in this movie, and that is down to this man. So technically, I mean, Cameron knows what he's doing.
You know when the big truck goes under that bridge as well and it takes the roof off, and then you see the Terminator, the T-1000's head popping back up, and he just kind of pokes at the windscreen to get it out of his road. Yeah, that as well, it always stands out to me, John. There's so many moments, you're right. The flowing of this film is so frantic at the very beginning, and then, as we said, it does take a little dip in the middle to character develop and the relationships, etc. But then it picks up again. The pace of this film is just absolutely frantic at times. Technical aspects of the film in regards to CG, it was breakthrough stuff they were doing. You know, as I said, I've seen some early stuff like that in the Abyss, but this was, you know, the sort of at the forefront at this point. You know, and as I said earlier, it's not aged. It's not aged badly at all. You know, there's some scenes, you know, give and take if you really want to study them, but put yourself back into the 1991 version of yourself and remember seeing these sequences for the first time, these action shots and these CG shots, just totally blew your mind.
Absolutely, Stephen. I mean, you can nitpick now from in hindsight and say that doesn't look right, that doesn't look right, but at the time it was absolutely pioneering. The guy has just always been pioneering. He's up there with Favreau now, that is the sort of leading pioneering figures for technical stuff.
It certainly is.
Brad Fiedel did the score. I mean, the score is very guitar, from what I recall, heavy. It's like 80s.
But it's that metal sort of drum thing going on, you know, the hammer.
But he did the original Terminator as well, this guy. So I mean, he's to thank for that amazing Terminator theme. It's iconic, so can't really do him down. Stephen, this movie won 4 Oscars, and it was all for technical stuff, really. It was editing, sound effects, visual effects and makeup. Can't really argue with that, really. I mean, some would say you're not going to get one of the big ones for this. They just don't give action.
I don't know what did,
this.
John. Probably something Kevin Costner was doing or something at the time. Dances with Wolves or something. I don't know. I'm being facetious, but you know, nothing for like best actor or anything like that. I wouldn't go that far, you know.
But it was right to get recognised for it.
Not even for the wee ginger mullet guy, you know, that was John Connor's pal. No, definitely not. I mean, it's like Star Wars, you know, it is what it is. You know, it will pick up, you know, an Academy Award. No, it certainly doesn't. But back in its heyday, it did, John, for technical aspects, you know.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Stephen, I think that's probably where Star Wars is as a brand now. But again, we'll not. It seems like we've been slagging off Star Wars low key for this whole review, not franchise. But yeah, I mean, technical aspects, it was always going to win for the editing and whatnot. I mean, it was very slickly edited, as you did say, frenetic. That's down to Jim Cameron and all the people involved. But look, Stephen, I ain't got much more to add other than final thoughts on this movie. I mean, Legacy is one of the best action movies of all time. And certainly in terms of Terminator, as I did say at the beginning of this review, my favourite Terminator movie out of them all, really. I mean, I love the original. It is borderline horror. It's got its good points, but this is for me the best.
It's like The Dark Knight. It should have ended there and, you know, done with. You know, 2 films was enough for this franchise to tell this story. And you're right. You know, its legacy. Some might say, you know, that the Dark Fate sort of introduction kind of marred it a little bit. You know, but for me, it's not. You know, I can watch these films. You know, as standalone films as well. I don't have to go back and watch the Terminator film to understand what the Terminator 2 film's all about, you know, or the story, you know, or where the characters are at this point. I don't think anyone would coming into this franchise fresh. If you just went in to watch Terminator 2, you soon pick up and understand where it's coming from. You get more of an emotional impact if you watch the first film, you know, because you get to understand the characters a little bit better. But there's nothing to take it away from this film. You know, it could be its own film, you know, with a backstory similar to A New Hope. There we go, I'm throwing in Star Wars again, where you don't really need to know the backstory, you don't need to know the ins and outs, you know, just certain little lines will, you know, explain certain things, you know. It's just a great film. It's something I can get back to every maybe 2 or 3 years and enjoy.
Yeah, I'm long overdue. I have to go back and watch it, Stephen. It's been a while, but look, you're right. Final thing I would add, in a strange way, they are all self-contained. All the Terminator movies are self-contained stories. They're all individual. There's a thread of connection through the characters, but in a way you could watch them all, and they're all individual movies. So, but that's another rabbit hole. you could go down
Yeah.
for another day. What the hell do you guys make about T2? Where is it in your list of Terminator movies? Do you think its legacy has been destroyed by Dark Fate? What's your thoughts on performances, action sequences, the movie as a whole? James Cameron, Cammy, Jimmy. If you want to say anything at all, you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section. You can also like the video if you have enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see our ugly mushies talking about more movies. And if you do, then you will see our ugly mushies talking about more movies. But first I'll be doing movie news in between it. But if you want to see more reviews, come back and you'll see our review of David Fincher's Panic Room.